Good afternoon. Welcome to the highly anticipated North Cascades Bluegrass Festival's live interviews with the pros. The North Cascades Bluegrass Festival is held annually over Labor Day weekend coming up here. This year's festival is just around the corner on September 2nd and 3rd out at the Deming Log Showgrounds in Bellingham, Washington. Performances are on Saturday and Sunday, but camping starts on the Tuesday before Labor Day and until the Tuesday after Labor Day. Today, we're privileged to have Steve and Jane McMahon with Roosevelt Road. Roosevelt Road leads the gospel show on Sunday of this year's festival. They are also invited to participate in the Pro Jam after the last set on Saturday evening. So, without further ado, let's welcome Steve and Jane McMahon with Roosevelt Road.
Hey.
Hey.
Let me put you up at the top here.
All
There
right.
we go.
How
are
doing,
you?
David?
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, before we get started, I first off want to do a little shout out to you guys, and hopefully won't bring too many tears to my eyes, but you guys have been friends of the festival since we started, since the inception, prior to even being a festival, and I just want to give a big shout out for that. You've helped us with workshops, you've helped us with fundraisers, and you've done it all free gratis, and I just want to say thank you for help making the festival what it is today, because you've always been involved, and I can't thank you enough for the sacrifices you guys made in helping us out. So I just want to let everybody know that.
It's a privilege to be part of it.
Yeah, it's a great festival.
Thanks. Steve and Jane, the intent of today's questions is to give our fans a little insight into the performers so that when they're listening to you, they have a little insight into the lives of Roosevelt Road. So let's start off our interview today to give our fans some insight into other members who are not with us today. Let's start with your dobro player, Lauren Postma, then the others.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Lauren, we have been together as a band for 9 years. And Lauren, he has been playing in the Northwest in bands forever.
We call him Uncle Lauren.
Uncle Lauren. Yeah. And we always laugh and say he's kind of crusty on the outside and a marshmallow on the inside. He's like, he can sound a little rough sometimes, but he's not. He's the sweetest man ever.
Great player, very generous man.
Yeah.
Very generous, yeah.
And then, of course, we have Ron Harrington. He's our rhythm guitar player and a good buddy, a good friend. And
brings his wonderful wife along, Lynette.
Yeah, Lynette always comes along and helps out with everything logistical, and has a lot of fun when we're camping, and so we really appreciate that. And
everybody's best friend, Mike Chanda.
Yeah,
we started playing with Mike. Was the first member of the band. We were playing as a duet, and we were jamming with Mike at Wenatchee Bluegrass Festival. And we liked what we were hearing. We played all weekend with him, so we asked him to join up, and we started a trio at that point.
Yeah, and then we just sort of added people, and then of course we have Robbie Bennett, who, in my opinion, is the best fiddler here in the Northwest, and just a great guy. And we like to tease him a lot because he's younger than all the rest of us. So we're all retired, but he's still working. And we said, well, somebody's got to pay that Social Security. So
and then Caitlin plays with us when she can.
Yeah.
Well, she's pretty busy, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. So your gospel show this year is on Sunday, as I mentioned early on, at 11:45 a.m. Tell us what gospel, one of the many genres that you sing, means to you guys.
Well, gospel is our favorite because we truly believe what we're singing. We're Christian people, and we love to sing the gospel. And like I said, that's our favorite thing to do. And our gospel heroes are, of course, Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver and people like that. And
there's such a big part of the bluegrass music that is gospel too. So it's like if you said you weren't going to play any gospel, you'd actually be getting rid of about a third of the bluegrass music. So, there's a whole lot of bluegrass gospel and a lot of really good songs and fun to play and
great arrangements.
Well, Doyle Lawson, those kind of bands, they make some great arrangements, which are really fun. And you can get an idea like fun ways to. We always say fun ways to end a song or be good quitters.
Yeah, and then the gospel shows at the festivals are where the church people go to church, so it's kind of like that's what they do because they're at the festivals. The gospel shows are a pretty important part of the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really fun. We really like we said, we really like that. We try to put a little bit of gospel into all of our sets when we play because we like it and we feel like it's a big part of the bluegrass music.
Yep.
So
yeah. Awesome. How did you two meet and how did Roosevelt Road get its start? Was it always Roosevelt Road or did you have other band names before Roosevelt Road?
Well, we definitely had different band names, but I'll start with how we met. I was stalking Jane for a year or so, but not really stalking, but going to see her playing with. She's playing different places with a different band, and we met each other at the Clearview Jam, which is now the Maltby Jam, and we got to know each other a bit there, and then in 1987, we ended up at 86, 87, whatever it was, ended up at Otis Whiteside's Christmas party.
Oh, yeah.
And we were hanging out together, and she asked me what all those bottles, mason jars full of water were on the shelves for. And I explained to her that wasn't water, and no, we took off from there.
That was so funny.
That's how we really met.
But we have always loved the bluegrass people. The people are so fun to be with, and of course now we've been in this band for 9 years, so we're real close with these people. But still, like all the other pickers from Maltby and the festivals, and it's just you just like them. They're such good people and fun to be with.
Yeah, that's one of the things that brought me into bluegrass is that very thing.
Yeah.
And before Roosevelt Road, Jane and we were playing as a duet, and we were just known as the McMahons, and
Mission Mountain,
and Mission Mountain band before that for many years.
And we did, and mostly in those years we did gospel.
Yeah, that's all we did.
We did a lot of gospel. It seemed to work out better with our family, and so that worked out good for us. But then eventually we started going back to the festivals, and we said, oh, we've missed so much by not being here. And so
we were traveling to churches in Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho,
even Montana. We went out to Montana. And so that was a fun time in our life, but we really missed the festivals and all the picking there and the picking people. And so we were glad to just start coming back and doing the festivals more.
Great.
So we did.
So you've met and you sipped a little bit of Otis Whiteside's.
No, we didn't sip any of it.
We didn't sip any of that.
Explained to her what it was. Well, maybe I had a little. I don't know.
But he was a person that we really loved. Otis was a wonderful guy.
He was
very social, and he loved to have parties and stuff. And so
he smoked some great salmon too.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
it was really good stuff.
He was a good guy.
So you met. So what's the most surprising thing thus far that you each have learned about each other in your romantic journey?
35, 36 years now.
Yeah.
It was a surprise to me. I knew Jane was an avid gardener, but I had no idea I was going to have like an acre and a half of flowers on our property. So. Which are very beautiful, and I appreciate that very much. So.
Well, Steve too, he was so good. I mean, we each have 3 children, so we have a Brady Bunch family, where your family has to all mesh together, and they did that really well. But Steve was really good about putting aside the things that really mattered to him until they grew up a little, and that was surprising to me. I think eventually he got to do the things he really loved, like motorcycles and that stuff. But
lots of them.
Yeah, but at the beginning we were just working hard to just make a life, with our kids, and So
she didn't know I was a boxing fan when we
No,
got married, but
no.
then we used to buy the fights as her dad would come over, and she learned that.
That made my dad awful happy, so it worked out okay, didn't it? I'm not a real boxing fan, no.
Yeah. So over the years, many folks have watched Grandma and Grandpa teach, involve, and support your granddaughter Caitlin in her beginning musical journey. It was a joy to watch, by the way. So
Still
help
is
us out.
for
What's
us.
Caitlin up to these days?
Well, she just turned 18 a while ago,
Graduated, yeah.
and she graduated from high school. She's went to that like running start program,
Yeah.
and so she has done a lot of college already. But she's going up to Western, and in Bellingham, and
Hey,
she
hey.
is going to take classes to become an elementary school teacher. And I guess when you do that you pick something else has to go with that, like maybe an elementary school education with English or that. Well, she is doing it with math. She's always been really good at math. And so she's doing elementary school education, but she also is taking a whole bunch of math classes that would make it so that she eventually could be a math teacher, like even in junior high, I guess.
She was talking to us about not wanting to lose the music. We just played with her last night at Mike and Julie Campbell's place on Camino Island. They had a little festival.
Yeah.
And we
Great
played
book.
with her then. But she's going to be looking for jams and little venues to play at up and through the Bellingham area. You might be able to help her with that.
I will. Just send her my way. I'll be
You know, we have supported her. I taught her to play the guitar when she started when she was 7.5, and she really wanted it. It isn't like I wouldn't have done it if she hadn't really wanted it, because I think it's too much work to learn to play an instrument if you don't really want to.
She's not the stage nana.
So no, I'm not. And so I felt like, well, her parents thought that she should do it. I think because she obviously was such a good singer, even as a child. And she definitely had the ability to do it. You know, one thing about teaching children is that they often have such a short attention span. But Caitlin wasn't like that. From the time she was born, she had a long attention span. You could do something with her even when she was like 7 years old.
She'd work at changing those chords
she
for
would
hours.
work on it for a long time. And I think that made such a difference because, you know, if they get bored in 10 minutes, well, it's hard to go anywhere with it. Yeah. But she could do it. And like now, she really is, she can be an equal part in a band. She can play leads. She can play really good rhythm guitar. She's a great singer. She can harmonize.
Yeah.
You know, she can do all the things. So, you know, I love her to play with us. I would love her to play with us forever. But the truth is, she's going to need young people.
That's right.
Her own young people to play with. And I think now that she's going to college, she'll find those people.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of people up here that play bluegrass that are associated with Western as well.
Yeah.
In bands and stuff. So we'll hook her up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So are you guys working on a new album by chance? If so, when do you expect?
We were just talking about that yesterday, whether we wanted to or not. So we're considering it. It's a pretty big project to take on. With, you know, Jane's got a few health problems, and we got to make sure the timing's right. But if we get an opportunity to, we will.
And we would like to, you know, we have a recording with Caitlin, but she was a little girl.
And she was 10.
And you could hear it in her voice, that little girl voice instead of, you know, grown woman voice. She has a beautiful voice now as a grown person. And so we would really like to record her just for herself, you know, because like I said, the recording we have, her as a little kid, and she's doing great, but you can hear the sound of little kid, you know.
So is that, please correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the one that had the picture of the red truck on it?
Yeah.
The bass up over? That was a pretty cool
picture. The name of the album is Bonafide.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So Steve, you were and still are an inspiration to me as a bass player. I remember when I first started.
You need to get out more, David.
I remember when I first started and the tips you passed on to me. I used to watch you guys play and watch how you're doing your bass work. non-open string, and I was just amazed. And during that time, you had at least one bass. Tell us about your current collection, because I know you're an avid bass.
Well, it
collector.
changes now and then. Of course, I still have my my old 58 Roth stand-up bass, which is my favorite bass. We've had it since 86, 87. Yeah. And it just has been rebuilt by Jake DeVanders up in White Rock.
Yep.
And he did a marvelous job. Then I have a 5-string Eminence electric stand-up bass, which I really like it too. It's my second favorite, I guess I would say. And then I have a Conway custom electric bass that I bought about a year ago, and it's a lot of fun. I had an NS design 5-string, but I gave it to our son who lives in Boston. He's a musician. He has it in his studio.
Nice.
I have a Taylor GS Mini bass, which is an amazing little thing that I love to jam with. It makes, I can't believe the sound it makes. Mm-hmm. I have a U bass, of course, and we've been teaching our other grandchilds, Mason, is learning how to play bass on it.
Awesome.
And I have a Tacoma Thunder Chief that hangs on the wall. And
that's mostly it there.
I think that's about it. I had I had 2 other stand-up basses, but I sold both of them.
So did you have a chance to look at the bass that Dan Eubanks with Special Consensus just got?
I sure have.
It's
an amazing bass.
It's an amazing bass. I tried to get the information on buying one of those, and I still haven't heard back from him.
Well, he just went through a big move, you know. He moved back to St. Louis, so you probably get hold of him now.
Yeah. So Jane, how'd you get started on banjo? And tell us about your instruments if you've got.
Well, I like all kids, people my age. There was that thing. We all wanted to learn to play the guitar in the 70s. Yeah. It was like you want to be a cool kid, you learn to play the guitar. And I always loved singing. And so I started with the guitar. I bought a $40 guitar after I earned $40 picking strawberries. And my parents, they were very encouraging with that. Not that they knew anything about playing, but they were very encouraging to me to do it. And so I played the guitar all through high school. But when I got to be about 20, I heard the banjo. Somebody actually gave me a bunch of reel-to-reel music, and I had an old reel-to-reel player, and it was Doc Watson. I'd never heard of Doc Watson before. Didn't know anything about it. And I really liked the music. I liked he had beautiful singing. See, I had not always thought of bluegrass singing as something I really like, because they do a lot of that nasal sounding, and I didn't really like that. And so I love Doc Watson. I love the sound of his voice and his rhythm, the incredible rhythmicalness. And they had some banjo on there, and I thought, if I learned to play the banjo, I could probably play in a band. And I really wanted to do that. I had this thought that if I could actually really play, there were so many guitar players, it seemed to me, that were at my caliber, rhythm guitar players. And it seemed like there were just so many that I'd have to do something better than that if I wanted to get in a band.
Different, yeah.
So I took up the banjo, and I tried I didn't like school, okay? So I tried for a whole year to learn to play the banjo without going to lessons or something. I got a book, and I started working on it. And I did work on it really hard. But I couldn't figure out why my banjo didn't sound right. Why doesn't it sound like other people's banjos? And so then I went and took lessons and figured it out. And I realized that banjo is not the same as guitar. In the guitar, you play a chord and then you play a rhythmical strumming when you learn. But on the banjo, you create notes both on the left hand and on the right hand with your picking. That's part of why it sounds so fast, because you're creating notes on both ends of the instrument. And I really liked it. And so I just started working on it like crazy. And then I think really because I could sing I eventually, found people wanting to play in a band with me.
Yeah.
But mostly I think, eventually I became a pretty decent banjo player. But back then I was, I was just starting out, but I could sing. And so, that helped.
So what banjo are you playing now? What brand?
I'm playing a Neckville and I love it. I think it's the best banjo I've ever had. I had a Stelling before and I really liked it too, but my Stelling eventually kind of wore out. So I could play it again, but I need to take it to somebody and have a whole lot of fretwork done to it.
We've thought about sending it back to Stella and have them set it up.
And have them work on it because
it was a marvelous banjo.
Yeah, it just eventually, because I play a lot of things up in C and D, I capo up there. I wore out the strings I wore out the frets right in the middle of the banjo. They're not worn out at the bottom like on a guitar usually, but right there in the center of the instrument. And so it started being when I play a chord down below, if I played an open chord down there, it would make little pingy noises and little overtones from the frets not being good. And so it finally just drove me crazy. And so the guys in the band, they said, well, you should look at those Neckvilles. Yeah. And we went into the booth at Wintergrass and I played my Stelling and then I played the Neckville and I thought, oh, this is a wonderful instrument.
It's way lighter too.
And it's half the weight. I think it's only 6 pounds and my Stelling was like 11. And so that was a big advantage. But my Stelling is an incredible instrument. It stays in tune good. It sounds really nice. So I'm really happy with it.
Nice. Well, Jane, over the years, I've had the incredible privilege of witnessing your musical, let's call it prowess. I vividly recall the very first time I had the honor of hearing you sing. And I was absolutely astounded by your remarkable talent. I remember saying, who's singing right now?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Thank you.
And as the years rolled by, I've had the pleasure of watching you sing and perform time and time again. And I'm consistently left in awe of two things: the sheer quality of your voice and how it just projects, and the seemingly effortless way you sing harmony to transform an ordinary jam session song into an inspiring musical experience. Could you provide a few tips to our folks about singing harmony?
Well, first thing, I think it's important to wait until you know the song. Sometimes people try to sing harmony on a song they've never heard before. And until you know where the chords are going in your head, you can't sing good harmony. So you really have to know. I always, like when the band learns a song, I try to learn the song just like they do, like the lead part. I sing it. I try to sing it, and so that I hear the chord changes in my own head, and then I try to do harmony. And I just make chords. That's the way I do it. So I only sing harmony of things I'm sure I can hear. I can hear the chords. If I can't, I don't sing it. And it takes a little bit of, Caitlin is learning to sing harmony right now. Okay. And she's getting pretty good at it. But like she said to me yesterday, she said, the fun of singing harmony is when I put on the radio in my car or put music on in my car, I can just sing along with everything because it's, a lot of it's not in a key that she could sing it. But then, of course, she can sing harmony to it. And she just loves that. So it's really just like time on the trigger. Really, you just have to try and keep trying and find patient people who will let you sing badly until you sing good.
Usually finds the notes on a guitar or something when we're working through it.
Yeah. Sometimes people, they just, because you, I guess, make it look effortless, they think it should be effortless, but it's not.
You guys knew my mom, know my mom and dad, or knew my mom, know my dad. And when I was a little boy, like, I think it's about 8 or 9, they wanted us to sing in church. And the song was A Christian Cowboy, Christian Cowboy, a Christian.
Yeah.
And I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. I just don't know why they had me do that up there. But then my dad when I told him I wanted to play saxophone, he told me that I really needed to be able to play by ear and to read music. Because I don't know if you know this about my dad, but he can't read a note of music. He's all by ear. He said, "Son, you need to learn both." So I started getting my saxophone out and playing along with the FM radio at the time.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my ear. Now I can keep a tune in a bucket. And that was like instrumental in helping me to be able to sing. It was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, such is life.
Well, all pieces of music, everything we learn can be transferred to other things we want to know, usually, you know, like chords and learning to sing harmony, and everything is just, you know, on the road. It's on the road to making music.
Right.
Yeah.
We said, and we obviously are slow learners because we're old people and we're still learning.
A lot of people learn to sing in church. I did as a kid. I was raised in a Catholic church and went to a Catholic school and ended up in Mass 6 days a week. And I learned to sing, but it was all in Latin. I didn't have any idea what I was singing, but that's where I really learned to sing.
Yeah.
So I understand that you guys are members of the number 4 culture artist roster. So you'd say it as
four culture, yes.
Yeah. What can you tell us about this organization? I personally have never heard of them. So maybe.
It used to be called the King County Arts Commission.
Oh.
And we were in that catalog some years ago, and they would hire us. They just put it out there, and if a venue is looking for, it's still the same thing, it's just a new name. If a venue is looking for a band or a poet or a storyteller or whatever, they're all in that catalog, and they could hire us through that catalog.
Knowing that you'd kind of been already
they audition
you, and so that way those people who are thinking about hiring somebody, they feel like, well, these guys have already been, you know, sanctioned. They're already okay.
And you can go to 4culture.org, I think it is. I might be wrong, so try net and com.
And
but all the bands are listed in there, and other performers, like I said, poets, storytellers, whatever. Dancers. Cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
So
that's great. I understand that Roosevelt Road advertises that they will travel up to 500 miles for a performance. At least you did. I don't know if that's still the case, but every band that we've interviewed so far has had several interesting, funny and interesting road stories. Are there a couple that you could share with the fans today that would be intriguing or funny?
I don't know. I've had some tragedies.
Well, that's okay. That's interesting as well.
We don't mind going. And one of the things we have found is that if you go places, you meet incredibly interesting people.
Go to cool places you never would have gone
to. And, you know, like we went over to the Orofino Bluegrass Festival this spring. And they're just lovely people over there, and they just think it's so much fun that you're willing to come. And it's a long way, but you know they're so good to you where you're there. And
we had an interesting road trip there. We were following the GPS.
Oh yeah,
and it took us on the wrong side of the lake where we were going to camp at before we headed over into Orofino, and we were going around in circles there. It was kind of hilarious because we ended up out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And it's a good thing I drove a truck for a living because I could back up into little skinny driveways.
Yeah. And we've had the typical, you know, breakdowns. You have your truck breaks down.
Yeah, one last in Arizona was a good one.
We got stuck with our truck in Arizona, and we ended up in Kingman. And we had never intended to be there or anything, but it took a few days to get a new turbocharger. And so we rented a car and we took our own little road trip for a day on Route 66, and we had so much fun
up to Oatman.
We saw it all that. It was so much fun to see that. You could see that early highway. It's just like a snake of circles going around and round. And we said it's a good thing we weren't hauling our trailer while we were doing it. But it was
nice to be on your fun. BMW though, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were coming up from playing at Gord Ackery's place. It was really fun, but that blowing that turbo was a surprise. So
yeah,
we blew it out in the middle of the desert, of course.
Just like any band, we like to get paid, but that's not the most important thing. You know, we want to play. and we really enjoy playing, and we enjoy meeting the people that we meet and doing it, so.
That's great. Could you tell our audience who was or is your most influential musician or mentor, or both?
I think we both answered the same question. Our entry into bluegrass, anyway, was the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album that came out. I was listening to rock and roll and jazz back then, and I just come across that album and threw it on, and I thought, oh, listen to this. And Doc Watson was there, of course, and he was a great influence on the type of music that we ended up getting into. And, different people. I loved Jim and Jesse back then. I started listening to all the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, just all that stuff.
Well, and there's all those really good women of bluegrass.
Right
you got
now
Claire
yeah.
Lynch and
Alison Krauss.
Yeah.
Gina Furtado.
Yeah, Gina Furtado. I really like her. There's AJ Lee.
Yeah.
Hear some incredible singing and some incredible playing.
Molly.
Yes, Molly, of course.
So.
Well, and she's really come into her own just in the last year or two. She was always incredibly a good player, but she's become a really good performer, and just come into a really great band. They seem to be really good. So that's kind of fun.
And due to my age, my memory doesn't recall. Sierra Hall, is that the right name?
Sierra Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
She's another woman.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, and her husband is I can't remember his name, but he is a marvelous bass player. I mean, the best of the best.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
And as far as bass goes in music, the people I really admire, two of them that I can think of right off the bat that I'd like to learn what they know is Mark Schatz and Dan Eubanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those guys are amazing.
They are amazing. Yes. Another bass player too. I forgot his name, but he plays with the Jim Hurst.
Oh yeah.
That guy's a really good bass player too.
Yeah.
I remember him
talking about
trying on my mom's bass one time, and he did Blackberry Blossom on my mom's bass with I was going, wow.
How fun.
How
fun.
Yeah. So who do you guys currently listen to? You got any favorites that you find yourself listening to a lot?
Oh yeah, Molly Tuttle.
For one, yeah.
Claire Lynch. We love all of Claire's stuff, and we really have Special C's one of our favorite bands.
But Carrie Hassler.
Yeah, Carrie Hassler.
I like Carrie Hassler. I think.
Donna Ulysses.
Yeah, and, those girls, they have incredible bands and great songs.
Yeah, Nick Dumas and Branchline they're kicking it. We're really listening to them, and then everything else that's on Bluegrass Junction, of course.
Yeah.
Well, you flip it on a lot, and you hear stuff that you think, oh wow, look at that. You hear stuff and you think, well, it's really fun. There's a lot of good bands that are creating new songs.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, I love the old timey bluegrass, but still there's a lot of new bluegrass that's being created. It's really good.
So do either of you have a hobby outside of your love for music? I'm guessing gardening might be one for you, Jane, but I don't want to assume.
Right.
That's mostly what I do.
Yeah, she's an avid gardener.
How about you?
Yes, I used to love to, get my motorcycles out and work on them and polish on them. And it was kind of a hobby other than just riding. But a real hobby I have is I love sound equipment. I like to mess with it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out and set our sound system up in the backyard and played with it and tweaked with it. And then let's see, I wonder what it sounded like in the shop. So I'd go set it up out in the shop. And I just love messing with that stuff. And I'm kind of an equipment junkie.
Yeah.
So because of that, so it's a lot of fun to me.
So this is kind of a self-promoting question, but any thoughts about playing at the North Cascades Bluegrass Festival this coming Labor Day weekend? I know you've done it before, but it's a new year.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're excited because a bunch of our children are going to show up. And so that'll be fun. But we love the North Cascades Festival. You can't get a better venue, as far as the plays
log show,
and good sound. You have good sound and
great stage,
and so
very organized.
Things, it's great fun. And then, like we said, it's a pretty big festival, and you get a lot of fun people, and some of them, of course, you get some Canadians, and you don't get to see them very often, so it's really fun.
Canadian friends come down,
because it's up north, and so they can come, and so that's really fun
Yeah.
to us.
It's great.
It's a great festival.
Little thing about the stage this year, they're trucking in the stage as opposed to building it from scratch from the ground up. We have one of those truck stages where it just folds out, and it will be up very quickly this year.
Well, that's fun.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move into. Actually, one more question first. If you had a choice of collaborating with another band or another artist, who would it be?
Well, I don't know. I thought about that for a minute. I think the local bands around is what we really like to do. Like to get together with other bands and jam. If they know all their songs and we know all our songs, and we get together and jam together.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It can be really fun.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the nationally known bands, though they're really, they're so tight. They've got their own thing going, and so they're more intimidating, I think. Maybe that. But we really like to play with local bands. We like to play with our other buddies, other bands. We're not
got Band of Friends and the what's their name? Up in
Stillwater Hill.
Stillwater Hill. We love those guys, and we
really
don't get to
good
jam
bands.
with them a lot, but when we do, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Do you know they're playing at our festival this year?
Are they?
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they're one of the Access Living Showcase bands.
Right on.
Good.
Right on.
Yeah,
They're great. They're a great band.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're opening up. They're opening up the festival on Sunday, which means they're the last Access Living Showcase band before you guys come on, actually. So they'll be just before you.
Yeah,
right,
that's
very
great. That's great.
So good.
So, okay, I'm going to go move into our rapid fire segment. I promised our listeners that we would learn things about you that most people don't know or never knew. So this is meant to be lighthearted, and please answer them as quick as possible to maintain that rapid fire momentum. You ready?
Yeah.
Just for our audience, Steve and Jane do not know these questions. I always keep these away from them, so it's all spur of the moment. So we'll start off with a simple one. And we can just answer first. Jane, you go ahead and go first, then Steve can follow on each of these questions. What are your favorite hot and cold drinks?
Coffee and coffee.
Yeah. Mine are peppermint tea and beer.
Okay. Who's the most famous person you've ever met?
Frank Zappa.
Tony Trischka.
Okay. If cost was not an issue and you could visit anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Ireland, to look at my ancestors.
That's it. Yeah, we would probably go there.
All right. Have you ever attended a festival on a motorcycle?
Yes. We went to Moses Lake.
We had a 20-inch scale banjo and a U-bass and one amplifier strapped to the back of our BMW.
So I did the same thing. I did the same thing for George on my Harley. I did the same thing over there with that. So that's great. What is your favorite food?
Rib steak.
I guess I'll say that too. I like it.
Steve, if money was not an object and you could buy any base in the world, what would it be?
Any base in the world.
He doesn't even know.
The only base I've ever had is a Mustang, a Fender Mustang, and it wouldn't take all the money in the world, but that's the one I'd like to have. Jane,
same question. What banjo would it be?
Well, I actually have another neckfill. I have two, and my second neckfill just needs a little bit of tweaking, just a little bit of work.
I'd like to fix it.
So as soon as I get it fixed, I think I will be all set for banjos.
All right. Do you guys cook? And if so, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Rib steak. I like cooking breakfast in the morning outside on the porch. I like to bacon and eggs and maybe some taters. I do it outside though, because I don't like to clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
How about you, Jane?
That's it. I like to cook, but I make family meals. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's good at it.
Have either of you ever broken any bones? If so, how did it happen?
Build any what?
Broken any bones?
Broken any bones?
Broken any bones?
That's the only thing I haven't done. I've never broken any bones. I've never broke a bone.
When I was a kid, I broke the ankle bones, like where they hook together, a couple of times. So I had bad legs as a child, but they're fine now,
All right. What's your favorite key to sing in?
C and D.
C and D.
D and G.
D and G. All right. Do you dream? And if so, do any of your dreams come true?
Lots of dreams come true.
Yeah, I dream all right. I don't doubt.
Yeah, bad dreams.
Pass.
Bad dreams.
That's awesome. What's your favorite actor? I mean, who's your favorite actor?
A favorite actor? Do I have a favorite actor?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't pay much attention. Who's
I'm
up
not
there.
really I like TV. Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Clint
yours.
Walker.
Oh, there you go.
He's gone, but boy, that was a
We-
beautiful man.
Yeah, we still watch Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite movie then?
Well, I actually liked, what was that movie? The Avatar movie. That's really actually the best movie I'd seen in years.
I really liked Forrest Gump. Really
Okay.
liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were not based out of your current location, is there a secondary place you might want to live?
Maybe Idaho.
Idaho. All right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what's your favorite venue to play and why?
Our favorite venue to play? Well, I love the North Cascade Bluegrass Festival. My favorite venues actually are small venues of about 100 people or so, you know. It was a good sound system just because it's really intimate.
So, yeah, I think that's what we like the best. But, you know, it's every time you play, there are different issues that go on and you think, you know, you like what happens. You like the way that sounded. Like we played at that little tiny festival yesterday.
Yeah.
And
That was great.
it was the one mic thing. He played with one mic, which we are we like that idea, and it always seems difficult, but we did it, and we were really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
And because we thought it sounded really great. We heard the other bands, they all sounded really good.
Yeah.
And we thought, this is fun, you know, it was a good venue. It worked out good.
Cool. So before we close, if you had one message to provide to your fan base and those listening today and those listening after the interview, because it's recorded on YouTube and Facebook, what would it be? What would be that message?
Come to the festivals.
Yeah,
Come.
come on out.
You know, you
And
can't,
to the jams too.
for the price of it, you can't get better entertainment or better fun.
That's right.
And so, yeah, come to the festivals and see what you're missing, because it's so much fun.
It's a lot of fun to go to a great big giant festival. A show like people who like someone like Taylor Swift and pay $1,000 for a ticket for a few hours. Come to a festival for a couple $100 for the whole weekend, and you got 6, 7, 8 bands and all the jamming out in the campgrounds. You can't beat it.
No, it's just like that's the best fun you can have. You know,
it is fun. Well, before we close, I just want to say thank you guys for taking the time to have this interview with me. I've really been looking forward to it. I know it takes time out of your schedule, but really appreciate you providing that insight into your lives and into your band members. And again, thank you very much.
All right. Thank
you, David.
We'll let you go. Have a great weekend. What's left?
The festival.
All right. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.